Two, 1, 2. Oh, here we go. Okay. Apparently, I have to turn my mic volume up for people to hear me. Good to know. Well, good morning, kids. How is everybody doing? I hope you're all doing well. I have my coffee. I hope you have yours too. And we're here in another episode of The Abyss. I am, of course, your host, The Eternal Abyss. Hello. Yep. Yeah. Now, it turned out like my microphone has its own volume, like its own gain knob on the device itself, and apparently I had turned it down and I didn't realize it. So now it's up. But hey, thank you, Dust Bunny on YouTube, and hello to everybody that's watching me on YouTube. Hello to everybody on all the other platforms I'm on. Periscope, D Live. What else we got here? Twitch. And Bitwave, of course. And Float. So hello to everybody. I don't know if this is gonna be a very long stream. There's plenty to talk about. It's not that there's not stuff to talk about, but it's just like all of it's being dominated by the absolute idiocy of what's happening in Congress with this. As you can tell from the title, I view this whole process as completely retarded. This impeachment. Excuse me, one moment. Um, yeah, this whole thing is just dumb. This whole impeachment is just amazingly retarded. It's stupid. It's a waste of taxpayer money. It's not even being presided by the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court. Justice Roberts said, "Screw this nonsense. I'm not going to participate in it." So you have the oldest sitting senator that has served the longest. Actually, it's not necessarily an age thing, but who's been serving the longest, and it's Leahy. And that guy slurs his words so much I can barely understand anything that he's saying. I saw tids and bits of it yesterday. I didn't want to watch the whole thing because all that watching it is going to do for me is just going to annoy me. It's just going to make me irritated by the fact that my taxpayer money is being used for idiocy. That's really what it boils down to, because I mean, let's face it, this impeachment isn't gonna do anything in terms of like if this is actually a real impeachment. You can't remove a president if they are no longer a president. The whole point of impeachment is to say, you know, this dude committed high crimes and misdemeanors, and he needs to be removed from office. It's not a mutually exclusive arrangement here. It's not like you just say, well, he's guilty but he stays, or he's not guilty but we can remove him. That doesn't work that way. Impeachment is not about that. And the fact that Democrats are arguing the opposite, they are arguing that they could just remove anybody that they don't like, which is what they're doing. They're trying to, and this is what is really happening overall. What's happening is that, and it's not just the Democrats. Let me rewind for a second. Republicans are equally guilty of this, okay? Because they had an opportunity to nip this in the bud, and they did not. So they are equally responsible for wasting taxpayer money and going along with this sham. So now, hold on, let me adjust myself here so I can sit more comfortably. There we go. Okay. All right, so I can rant in comfort. There we go. No, but really, what this is a group of elites, a ruling class that have decided we are going to make it so anybody who's an outsider gets a very clear message that if you are an outsider and you come in and you try to disrupt the status quo, we're going to destroy you. We're going to destroy you as a person. We're going to destroy your livelihood, where your income comes from. We're going to destroy your family as well and your businesses if you have any. We're going to besmirch you and defame you and libel you because it's a cabal. It's a cabal that's in Washington, D.C., and all they care about is rolling around in their sties, and they don't want anyone to come in and make some changes that actually would benefit people. That's what it boils down to. I mean, look at the fact that you have news that are creating they're already creating all the bullshit polls to say, "Oh, Biden has so much approval." No, he doesn't. He can't even get more likes than dislikes on a video. In the Super Bowl, he was booed. There was a pre-recorded message for a moment of silence for those for the victims of COVID, and he was booed. This guy is not popular. Nobody's happy with this guy. The tweets that you see on Twitter regarding Biden, everybody hates this dude. But no more mean tweets from Trump. That's the main important thing. No more mean tweets from Trump. Who cares if you lost your job? Who cares if the XL pipeline with the stroke of a pen just canceled, 11,000 up to $70,000. What am I saying? 11,000 to 70,000 jobs. Who cares? Who cares? No more mean tweets. Anyways, back to the impeachment. So, it starts at noon. That's day 2 of this idiocy. So, who knows? I may kick it on during stream and we'll just have it roll. Most likely someone's going to snipe it here on Bitwave. So if someone wants to watch, I don't know if I'm going to be the best source for that, but we'll see. Sip of my coffee. Excuse me. So you have Raskin. Whoops. You have Raskin, who's one of the managers. I mean, all the managers that were chosen, first of all, are complete morons. They are absolute morons. And like I said, I didn't see all of it. I only saw bits and pieces. I saw some of the quote evidence that was put forth. And some of the stuff that they were talking about, like I mentioned, they were talking about what the Constitution says about impeachment. And first of all, their first argument is that apparently it doesn't matter if a president is a sitting president or not, you can still impeach. That's absolutely not true. Raskin himself quoted a guy who said, I can't remember the name of this legal person who wrote an article about this sort of thing, impeaching and such after a person is back to being a civilian. And the article that he was quoting was like 21 years ago, and the guy said, I've changed my position since. That was an article of 21 years ago. It's like, I don't agree with that anymore. So their whole premise is flimsy. Then they showed like a video of everything, and in the video itself, they They show, oh, people are starting to go into the Capitol building and Trump is still talking. They show that in the video. So they confirm in the timeline that Trump had nothing to do with this. When in terms of inciting people to do something there during his rally. Because he wasn't. He specifically said, let your voices be heard and be peaceful. He said so. On top of that, let's look at some other arguments that have been made online and in the media and such. Some people are saying, well, his rhetoric in general, people could get riled up. Okay, so? Again, so? I mean, I'm trying to understand how that's his responsibility. In the sense that, okay, so I hear what politicians say all around. I hear what media says all around. I get annoyed and irritated and irked by what I hear. That does not equate to incitement. That does not equate to me going, oh, you know what? I heard Jim Acosta be a total dick as he usually is. Oh, let me go and just shoot up the local Kmart. No, it doesn't happen that way. Incitement of violence is in when you're talking about how things have been defined under the First Amendment by the Supreme Court, it's pretty clear cut. It has to be imminent. It can't be just 10 years ago, this guy said to do something, and then 10 years later, I did it. So that's incitement. No. That's not how it works. Incitement is like if I'm standing on the street and you're standing on the street and person C is standing on the street and I say to person, like I'm person A, person B is sitting on the street and person C is sitting on the street. Me, person A, goes to person B and say, hey, person B, look at over there. There's person C. Go punch him in the face. And then person B goes and punches person C in the face. And that whole analogy, I could have made it much better, and I just completely screwed it up. Because this is a professional broadcast. Point is, incitement has to be something that's imminent. And even if you have people there that were arrested that went into the Capitol building, even if you have people that went into the Capitol building and said, you know, I believe that Trump was telling me to do this, then that still is not incitement. Mark Levin was making an excellent point about this last night. I happened to catch just a clip of him talking, and he made an excellent point about that. Just because someone believes an individual is directing them to do something, that doesn't mean they are. And that is not evidence. That's not, my belief of something, my perception, my perceived whatever, is not evidence. Actual evidence is evidence. Show me that this was pre-planned. Show me that Trump was actually working with these people. Hey, Mark. I'm gonna talk about that for a moment, actually, because there is something to be said about our history and political violence, and I do want to make a brief statement about that too, and we'll talk about that in a moment. So there's that. There was another point that he made that was really, really good. Let me see if I can think of it real quick. I should have made some notes because I had heard just a clip of him, like just in a passing by fashion, and I don't exactly remember like every single bit that he was talking about. But shoot, what was that? Anyways, the point is, that's the other thing. I just remembered. Okay, so they say that he's responsible for treason, right? That Trump, they're saying that that's one of the things that they were also saying in the impeachment nonsense is that Trump was basically engaging in treasonous acts, and he was planning an insurrection. So you have two things about that. One, if he was planning an insurrection and working with a militia, essentially, because that's what the claim is, why would he deploy the National Guard? I mean, he's in charge of the military, being the president. So he's in charge of the military, gets the National Guard, and has this militia for what? For them to just start fighting with each other? Like, there's no logical sense to what they're saying. No logical sense at all. He deployed the National Guard. And on top of that, why go through an impeachment? What does it matter? Because if he did indeed act in a treasonous manner and engaged in treason and subversion of our United States, or ex-United States, I guess, because the country is dead, in my opinion, why even bother with an impeachment? Why not go directly to a criminal trial or military tribunals, actually, because treason is handled by military tribunals, if I'm not mistaken. So wouldn't it make more sense that if you don't want him to run because he actually is a Benedict Arnold, he is a traitor to our country, that you would go through the military tribunals? Because if they really have evidence of treason, the military tribunals can still handle it. And guess what the punishment for treason is? Firing squad. So why not do that? Why not do that if there is actual real evidence that he committed treason? And the answer is easy, because he didn't. And they don't have evidence. And this is all bullshit. And our taxpayer money is being used for this bullshit. I'm really, really, really getting tired of my taxpayer money being used without any sort of regard for representation. I recall back in the day, and when I studied history, that there were a group of people that got really annoyed about their tea getting taxed, and that they were getting taxed through the ass, and there was taxation without representation. This is what's happening now. This is exactly what is happening now. The government doesn't give a rat's ass about you. All they want is your money. And your interest can go fuck itself. That's really what it boils down to. I find that shocking that we've reached this point. I mean, apart the fact that, DC is under military occupation, in my lifetime, I'm going to be honest, in my lifetime, I never thought I'd see shit like this. Not in the United States. It's funny because when I see like videos of parliaments in Europe, for example, I see videos of parliament in Italy or in England or in France or other countries, and they start like wailing on each other, punching each other in the face, and they're like, there's a brawl breaking out in parliament. It's never been that shocking to me. That's the funny thing. I see that stuff and I'm like, ha, Europe. Because that's how they are. It doesn't surprise me, because there's always been like, Europe has had that history of being very like tumultuous, and like politics there is almost a blood sport. Always has been. Here, there was a higher standard in my view. You had checks and balances. You had a more representative government. You had a government that was made by the people and for the people, and et cetera, So it surprises me that things are as bad as they are here. It really does. I'm honestly like shocked about it. I cannot believe that we are where we're at. And I can understand Europe being the way it is because of its long history. That's why they do wail on each other in Parliament because there's a very long history of this conflict, even within just little municipalities amongst themselves. Not so much here, especially after the history that the United States has had when it comes to its own internal issues. But I don't know. So we'll see what happens with this. Because to me, it's not about impeachment. I don't think it matters in the sense that whether they actually vote to impeach or not, like they vote to say yes, remove, and yes, he is guilty of high crimes and misdemeanors. That's irrelevant. They don't have the votes for it. First of all, to my knowledge, they don't have the votes for it. But they don't care because the issue at hand, to me, is again, it's not a matter of impeachment. It's a matter of this is what they want. This is what they want. This is what they're gonna do. And I've mentioned this before for those that are fans of Calvin and Hobbes, for example. In Calvin and Hobbes, Calvin and Hobbes would play this game called Calvin Ball. And the point of the game was that there was no point. The rules changed as Calvin saw fit. And every time they played it, the game was different. So and during the game, and the rules of the game could change during gameplay. This is what they are doing. They are playing Calvin Ball. They're going to change if they don't get what they want, they're just going to change the rules. And then if something doesn't happen the way they want, they're going to try and change the rules again and again and again. And they're going to try to prevent people from participating. They're going to prevent people from running because only they are allowed to be in government and rule over us, the plebs. That's what it is. It's sickening in my view. It's disgusting. I mean, we're already getting to a point of having a social credit score. Oh yeah, we're gonna talk about that, Doom Tube. How you doing, man? I saw you had Seven Samurai up in one of your movies. Classic movie, my friend. Love that film. Really good one. We'll talk about the masks. Yeah. Nah, it's ridiculous. So I guess there's new emojis, huh? I didn't know that one. Oh my goodness. Yeah, but we're getting to the point of having a social credit score like China. We're basically China at this point. And you have all these people in power that are basically they are proxies for China. We're going to be China 2.0 basically. And you have people like Swalwell who's fucking Chinese spies and he's still in government. It's amazing. It's amazing. So we're gonna end up. I tell you, man, we're gonna end up like China with the social credit score. There's already proposals of that floating around. I've seen people talking about it on social media. Because like with Airbnb, for example, Airbnb is considering making it more difficult. From what I heard, I don't know if it's 100% legit. So disclaimer, it could be fake news. I mean, I'm just throwing that out there, just being straight with people. I don't know I haven't verified this if this is true or not. If it is, it's scary. It's scary I heard, again, don't know if it's true, but I had heard that Airbnb was considering rules to make it harder for Trump supporters to be able to get bookings, like to book on Airbnb. So if you are a Trump supporter or you were at the Capitol or whatever the litmus is for that, they have different things that they look at. They give you a score of how likely you are being a conservative or being a Trump supporter, et cetera, et cetera. And there's already this giant cancel culture that's happening right now. I mean, just look at what Disney just did to what's her name? There's this one actress, Gina Carano. I don't even know who she is because I don't watch garbage shows like The Mandalorian or Disney shit. So I don't know what that show is about. Obviously, it's about the Boba Fett, I guess, Mandalorian, whatever. So Gina Carano, this actress, not only was she dropped by Lucasfilm, she's also apparently been dropped by her talent agency UTA. And why, might you ask? What was so egregious? What was so terrible? What was so horrifying? Well, this is what she said. What Gina Carano said. Jews were beaten in the streets, not by Nazi soldiers, but by their neighbors, even by children. Because history is edited, most people today don't realize that. To get to the point where Nazi soldiers could easily round up thousands of Jews, the government first made their own neighbors hate them simply for being Jews. How is this any different from hating someone for their political views? And it's a valid point. It's a valid point. It's a valid point. Conservatives, I've been saying this for a while, actually. Conservatives are essentially becoming second-class citizens. They've been trying to censor what we say. They've been trying to remove us from any sort of discourse. We are not allowed to express our opinions. And violence has been used to try and silence people like myself. Nah, 1776 won't come again because people are pussies. But that's what's happening right now. What's happening right now is exactly that, where you have this is the villainy of identity politics. Because what identity politics does is turn everybody against everybody. Because it's not about being like American. It's not about being all in the same boat and trying to work together and try and find some compromises and try and work things out. Identity politics is about division. That's all it's about, because you have no value as a person. You as an individual, you have zero value. And the only time you start gaining value is if you tick off some of these identity politic points. Oh, you're black. Oh, you get points for being a minority. You're gay and black. Oh, you get bonus points for being LGBTQ. You know, oh, you're trans and gay and black. Oh, you got the trifecta going. Oh, you're like you're a refugee. You're an illegal alien. Oh, you got extra bonus points for that too. Would you have certain genitalia that makes you special, or or not, depending on what pair of genitals you have. But it's the truth, troll. It's not a matter of being a doomer. It's the truth. That's what that's what identity politics does. You only have value because of some sort of group that you belong to. No, I'm not, Mark. But anyways, the point that I'm making is this. And this is also on a more like macro level. On a more macro level, this is something that has bothered me, generally speaking. Also, when you talk about just general accomplishments, like all this nonsense of like Black History Month, or Spanish, like Latino Heritage Month, or whatever, things like that, or like people that are put in people that are put in some sort of position of power, or they have some accomplishment. Like one of the first programmers was female. Does that really matter? I mean, the fact that human beings were able to create a program for a calculating machine, whether it's a guy or a girl, isn't that something just to celebrate, period? I mean, to me, I look at that accomplishment and go, wow, that's an amazing accomplishment. When I look at like the man that who put his first step on the moon, I have never ever looked at that and go, man, only a male could do that. What an accomplishment for guys. What an accomplishment for human beings with junk between their legs. Never did that ever cross my mind. I looked at that and I looked at that as an accomplishment of mankind, of human beings. I looked at that and went, wow. Human beings have reached the moon. That's an amazing accomplishment. After so many sacrificed and died in the space race, because there were a lot of accidents and a lot of experimentation and a lot of stuff that went down. Just read up on some of the stuff that happened in the Russian space program. Good Lord. It's harrowing. Like freaky shit. Not to mention animals that were shot into space. Can you imagine? Can you imagine? You don't know what's going on. You're just shot into space. Pretty mind-boggling in my view. Yeah, that's right, Dust Bunny. Transgender black lesbian Jew who hopped the border from Mexico. That ticks off just about everything in the identity politics bingo, right? That's what it is. It's a bingo at this point. If you tick off enough boxes, you can get all the privileges in the world. If you're a straight white male of European descent, you're fucked. And people talk about white privilege. I don't know what the hell they're talking about. You're essentially fucked if you're not part of the most like, what is it, woke friendly group, I guess. SJW group, that's really what it is. So, yeah, it's ridiculous. And that creates division because now, like, for example, the perfect example that I can give you of this is when it comes to applying identity politics to business, to products and services. Just look at the absolute moron and soy boy that is David Hogg. This guy is starting his own pillow company, and they're calling it Good Pillow. I kid you not. Okay. Um, Hold on. My headphones are falling. Let me adjust that. Okay. So this guy's starting a pillow company because he wants to create a woke pillow company to compete against the My Pillow because Mike Lindell is conservative. So now I got to be concerned, okay, if I'm sleeping or I want to go to sleep. Now I got to look at my pillows and go, well, are those conservative pillows? Or are those liberal pillows? Are those woke pillows? Because I don't want to sleep on woke pillows. I want to support, like, if it was me, I want to support Mike Lindell, for example. So now I got to worry about what pillows my head's going to be on when I'm trying to go to sleep. Or if I want to get a drink of soda, of some cola, whatever cola it is. Is it Pepsi Cola, RC Cola, Coca Cola? It doesn't matter. But if I'm in a restaurant or I'm at a supermarket and I'm going down the aisle and I'm looking at all the different varieties of sodas and flavors, get woke, drink Coke. Yeah, the conservative pillows are super flat. I don't know if they are. All I can tell you is that I have some. I actually have a couple of my pillows, and they're really nice. My only thing is that when I bought them at the store, the only thing that I could get were like the super soft ones instead of the firmer ones. I'm more of a firmer pillow guy. So I need to try the firm my pillows and see if those work better for me. But those are super comfy though. And my pillows are super duper comfy. So, and Michael Lindell is not paying me to promote him, but I'm just saying, if you want a damn good pillow, that would be a good way to go. But anyways, apart from that, um, now I look at Coca-Cola, I look at Pepsi Cola, I look at RC Cola, I look at whatever, and I have to now consider, well, what does that company represent now? If I give them money, what are they going to do with my money? Are they going to promote ridiculous causes? Are they going to sign amicus briefs that go totally against my core beliefs? Are they going to promote political ideology that is contrary to my own? Which they have. That's why I stopped drinking Coca-Cola and I stopped drinking Pepsi-Cola products. Like, if I have to pay out of pocket for something, I usually try to avoid those companies. I won't even drink Gatorade or Powerade for that. I look for alternatives. Not only that, now I have to spend extra time at the supermarket because now I gotta read. I gotta go through and do homework. I gotta pick up, like, if I look at Powerade, I was like, well, who owns Powerade? Who owns Gatorade? Who owns this? Who owns that? Because everybody owns each other. I gotta download apps now and check, the chain of hierarchy of, how far that rabbit hole goes for whatever company. You could recommend piss. It's not branded and all natural. I'll take that under consideration, Mark Buckner. Thank you. You're staring at your Pepsi can right now. Well, guess what? Pepsi has supported some very shitty stuff. And Coke is better than Pepsi anyways. So apart from the political stuff, if you're going to choose to drink something, it's better to choose Coke. Excuse me one more time here. Didn't Magna drink his own piss? Didn't Magna do that? Anyways, um, so yeah, so now that political injection, red text doesn't work anymore? No. Really? Oh wait, no, that's green. Yeah, there's red text. Oh, the code text. Oh, my bad. Okay, I gotcha. I gotcha. Yeah, so there's that. There's that. But that's what I mean about identity politics. Identity politics makes things very, very bad for everything. For everything. It's it's a joke at this point. Excuse the noise. I'm trying to adjust myself here. Um, yeah, Bitwave has had some rough patches lately. No pun intended. Um, ah, um, well, what's the alternative, Mark? If there was a better place for me to stream, I would. This is the only place I can say whatever the hell I want and not worry about being banned. Like just the fact that I have the word retarded in my title, there's a good chance that I'm just gonna get banned off of like YouTube and Twitter and Periscope just for that. But anyways, I don't know. I mean, to me, it's a big problem. Injecting politics into every aspect of your life is not healthy. It's not healthy psychologically. It's not healthy for the country. And it's not healthy for the economy. Because if everybody is going to segregate themselves according to whatever businesses they want to support and whatever causes they want to support, you're creating a tiered economy at this point. Or a splintered economy where you're not going to be able to grow a business, for example, beyond a certain point because there's only so many people on one side and so many people on another side that support certain causes and certain political ideologies. It shouldn't matter. It shouldn't matter to the coffee that I'm drinking, for example, whether it's a company that supports liberal policies or it's a company that supports conservative policies, because politics should have nothing to do with my coffee. I shouldn't have to worry about politics when I drink coffee. All I should care about is whether my coffee is good. Well, they already did that actually. They have some internal payment processing stuff they said they put together. I don't think it's front facing at this point. Mark is talking about Gab and see how far they take it. Gab, from my understanding, Torba has decided he's just gonna go. He's gonna basically make himself a little nation state. It seems. My coffee is black, but it does have sugar. It's sweet, and sometimes I do put some cream in it. Not always though, because if I'm gonna put milk in my coffee, I prefer a cappuccino. But that's just me. Oh, really? In Vegas? Gab can do that in Vegas? Excuse me. uh, what dude? Oh, that's Andrew Torba. I think the problem with Andrew Torba is this. Okay, I'm gonna give him credit for a lot of. I mean, a lot of the stuff that he's done. Not a lot of people would have the balls to do what he did. A lot of people would have just given up. A lot of people would have just been like, well, let's try and just find another company to do it, or let's try and find just a workaround, like what Parler is doing or trying to do. Parler is dead at this point. I don't see it come back. But they're not doing anything internal infrastructure. I don't think. I haven't heard that they're doing that. They got rid of the CEO, and that's that. And they're trying to like rebrand themselves. He is a shit poster for sure. Yes. Well, but Facebook's gonna ban those ads if you try and put bad ads saying to stop using Facebook and Twitter. Like Twitter, maybe I don't know if they'll ban you off of Twitter if you do that. Facebook for sure because they have to approve your ads. I think Twitter has to approve your ads as well. Your ads get reviewed. So you have to find a sneakier way to do that. But I don't know. I mean, to me, what Andrew Torba has done with Gab is actually quite amazing. I didn't expect someone like him to do something like that because, like I said, most of the time when someone gets canceled, they don't. They may move to other platforms, but they won't build everything from the ground up. I mean, the fact that Gab built everything from the ground up, they have their own server farm, they have their own processing stuff. They have their own like CDN, so they don't have to use Cloudflare, for example. Um, that's pretty amazing to me. That's pretty amazing to me. And now they have a video platform up where you can upload videos. You can't live stream on there just yet, but I wish you could, because that would be a good alternative to YouTube. Excuse me a moment. Sorry, my sinuses are just going crazy right now. It seems. Um, but yeah, I've been kind of ranting and raving about this whole identity politics thing, but let me conclude with this, and then we'll move on to some other topics to talk about. Um, all this is doing, all that identity politics is doing, is just creating more division. That's really what it is. It's creating hate between people. It's creating division between people, and it moving forward. There's not going to be anything like anything positive coming out of it. Hey MZ, how you doing? Not the YouTubes. Yeah. So that's the problem that you're gonna have. And we've already gone so far deep down this rabbit hole of identity politics. It's not even funny. Like, things to me are really bad. To me, things are already very bad. Oh, there's an update on the Mark Cuban thing. We'll talk about that too. So that's where we stand politically, in the world. In the world here is like everything is so divided, and there's no indication or willingness to try and fix this. There is little reason. There is little reason for me to think that these people that are creating all these divisions have any reason to want to not keep going with it. So there you have it. It's in their interest to keep people divided. And they're going to keep people divided. Unless people like us tell the media, tell politicians to just fuck off. Tell Hollywood to fuck off. Tell companies to fuck off. And I know it's not easy to do. And there's not really even a pragmatic way of doing it. It's not like there's a way that you can just like, I'm not going to use any of these products anymore. It's nearly impossible. Because wherever you go, like if I go to a restaurant, I don't have a choice unless I want to drink shitty tap water. I'm going to be using some product that they paid money for. Unless you absolutely boycott completely all these companies, for example, and you never go to the movies anymore, and you don't watch any sporting events, and you cut the cable company. I mean, how are you supposed to do that? We have to go back to the age of like the late 1800s to early 1900s. Well, that's where I'm getting to that point too, Mark. I'm getting to that point where like I haven't had television like cable service in a long time. I've had to create basically a list of products that I will not pay money for. It's not hard, no, but I mean for people like you and me, maybe it's not that hard. But your average person isn't that involved in politics though. That's the thing. Your average person is not involved so much to the point where they have to worry about, well, they just want to watch a movie, for example. They want to go to the theater. And I'm the guy that's going, no, I'm not going to give my money to Hollywood. And they're like, what are you talking about? I know, right? Does Bunny, imagine not creating your own stories and songs in your head and enjoying them during meditation. I used to do that when I was a kid. So, I don't know. I mean, to me, it's not that difficult for me. No, a lot of the products that, I've stopped using, I've realized that, yeah, they're not really great products. Like, I haven't bought Kellogg's products in a long time. Yeah, a lot of movies are terrible. A lot of actors aren't really good actors. Stories are pretty bad. There's not a whole lot. There's not a whole lot that's worth watching anymore. Like all the Marvel stuff, all the Disney stuff, anything that Disney touches, generally speaking, is pretty horrible. Stuff that Disney produces, like now there's this new one, WandaVision. I mean, come on. It's pretty garbage. Cape shit, yeah. You know, I enjoyed it a little bit at first because finally, like, when you first see these superhero movies come out and they're actually not campy as hell, and the special effects are good, when you first saw that, you're like, oh, hey, you know, an actual superhero movie that you can take seriously. Seriously, in the sense of you can get into it and actually enjoy it without cringing so much that you start getting sore. Uh, but despite that, now it's like they inject politics into that too, and the story writing is so horrible, and the acting is really bad, and I don't know. I mean, it's just I kind of have to agree with Scorsese on this one, where Scorsese was saying that it's basically like carnival crap. You know, it's not serious cinema, and I have to agree. I mean, I would not call that high cinema or anything like that, or high level storytelling in any way. High art, no. As lowest common denominator shit. That's really what it is. So they took your imagination from you. Well, I don't know. Maybe for some people, I like to think I still have some imagination. I mean, I would come up with some amazing stuff when I was a kid, I think. But then again, I like to, you know, I'm my own judge on that one. I don't have anybody else going, no, that story in your head was actually pretty dumb, which it could have well been. I'd like to think that the stories that I made up in my head were good, but I don't know. I'll just live in my own little fantasy world. As long as I think in my head that my stories are good, I'm good. But anyways, let's get back on track and talk a little bit more about what's happening in the news and such instead of continuous just ranting and rambling. So today, back into the impeachment garbage, the House managers to conclude opening arguments against Trump. And you have Lindsey Graham already getting backlash. Lindsey Graham is a piece of shit, okay? Beyond that, but Lindsey Graham, he's receiving, quote, backlash for a tweet arguing that a not guilty vote is growing and that most Republicans found the presentation by the House managers offensive and absurd. Yeah. I mean, there's some truth to that. There's definitely some truth to that. So I don't. To me, like that whole defense video, the quote evidence that was presented in this opening, it's nonsense. As I mentioned, they contradict themselves within the evidence that they were showing. Let's see here. Let me check something here. I just want to see if there's some other news item that's interesting. About the mask thing, yeah, let's talk about that. So, the CDC quote recommends now says, "Oh yeah, 2 masks are are effective. So now everybody should be wearing 2 masks, right?" My response to that is the CDC could go fuck themselves, frankly. Okay. Actually, there was one more thing about the impeachment that I wanted to. There was one more thing about the impeachment that I wanted to talk about. It has to do with Swalwell, this piece of shit. So Eric Swalwell was using a Photoshop tweet during the fake trial, like when he was presenting evidence. So not only was their evidence bad, was their evidence contradictory, they're just making shit up at this point. They're lying. So let me read this article to you here. The House Impeachment Manager, Eric Swalwell, gave a riveting performance on Wednesday, reading off Trump's tweets with emotional appeal. During this theatrical performance, Swalwell read off a Trump tweet by Jennifer Lynn Lawrence, which says, it was a retweet apparently that says, "We have been marching all around the country for you, Mr. President. Now we will bring it to DC on January 6th and proudly stand beside you. Thank you for fighting for us." But there was one problem with the tweet. It was photoshopped. Jennifer Lynn Lawrence has never been verified by Twitter because the tweet shows her as a verified person. So Democrats faked that to make it look more important. So she replies here. She actually tweets this herself, Jennifer Lynn Lawrence. I don't know who she is. But she says, "I've never been verified on Twitter, so why did my tweet used in the fact-free impeachment include a verification badge? I'm assuming Democrats faked it like they are faking the whole case. Rep Swalwell, why did you add a verified badge to my tweet in your presentation?" And not once. It seems like they've done it multiple times. They show her on different tweets that she's done, and there's verified badges on her name when she's not a verified person. So yeah, they're fudging evidence. They're lying. I mean, it's amazing. And most people, this is the thing that burns me, is most people are going to not even look into this sort of stuff. They're not even going to care. That's the thing that really annoys me about more than anything. It's like, it's right there in front of your face that this is all shit. It's all bullshit. It's a smoke and mirror carnival sideshow. That's what it is. These are snake oil salesmen. Have you ever seen the movie Little Big Man? Has anybody ever seen that movie, Little Big Man? It's basically the sideshow that they were doing because there was a part in the movie where he was a snake oil salesman, and he was pretending that he was like lame, and he was pretending that he was limping, and he would drink this miracle potion, and he would start walking again, and it would be a miracle cure. It's ridiculous. This is what people are doing. These are politicians. That's what they are doing right now with our taxpayer money. Right? So anyways, moving on to other stuff, back to the mask thing. So now the CDC is saying that you have to wear multiple masks. Well, you know what? If you do that, I have no qualms saying, I'm not ashamed to say this, and I have no qualms saying this to anybody who wears multiple masks. You're retarded. You're just fucking stupid. I'm sorry. Actually, no, I'm not sorry. I'm not sorry if you're so dumb that you're going to listen to these people that have not been consistent in any shape, way, or form for a virus that has a 99.98% survival rate still, and you're going to listen to a government organization that, like I said, can't get their shit straight, and they're modifying their website because they want to play politics with people's health. No, that's unacceptable. That's unacceptable. There's no way people should be doing that. And on top of that, if people are also concerned about people's health, then they should be going and calling the White House and making a lot of complaints about the fact that Biden terminated Trump's emergency order to construct the border wall. And that he's letting refugees in without vetting, without testing them. That's what they want to do. But wear 2 masks, because that's going to solve the problem. Not the fact that you're letting a bunch of people in and you don't have no idea if they have COVID or not. So no, I'm not going to do this bullshit. I'm not going to wear this mask shit. I have my own personal reasons for not wearing it. It's not even a political reason in my case. But if I didn't have any other reason for it, I would still not wear a mask. I have legitimate sinus issues where I can't do masks anymore. I tried to be the good little citizen. I tried to be the obedient little citizen. It's not working. It won't work, and I'm not going to do it anymore. Bite me. That's all I'm going to say. I have the ADA on my side. So, there's that. I invite everyone to tell the CDC to go fuck themselves, frankly. Moving on, not yesterday, in my last stream, we talked about Mark Cuban, who owns the Mavericks. He was saying that his organization would not play the national anthem before games. So the Dallas Mavericks owner, Mark Cuban, apparently recently was forced to eat his words when the NBA commissioner, Adam Silver, reiterated the NBA's policy that the national song is mandatory at the open of each contest. So Mark Cuban apparently had to just go fuck himself. So that's hilarious in my view. Let's see. So he's backpedaling here. Cuban told ESPN he had no issue with his organization playing the anthem at all. He said the decision not to do so was the result of conversations with members of the community. Excuse me. Okay. I'll start over. I was reading part of the article here. You're saying that Cuban told ESPN he had no issue with his organization playing the anthem at all. Quote, at all. He said that the decision not to do so was the result of a conversation with members of the community who felt the tradition did not fully represent them. Okay, I want to stop right there for a moment. Let me understand something. What does the national anthem represent? Let's ask this rhetorical question. Just throw that out there. What does the national anthem represent? I have always been of the understanding that the national anthem represents your country. No. Does it not? When I've been in different countries, and then whenever I've seen the Olympics or I've seen games or I've seen like the World Cup, for example, the World Cup, every country that plays in the World Cup gets their national anthem played. If it's Italy versus Brazil, you have the Brazilian national anthem, you have the Italian national anthem played. In the Olympics, you have all the different national anthems played. Why? Because it's not really a matter of who's there. It's not a matter of the individual that is playing that game or that sport. It has everything to do. This has everything to do with the fact that they are representing something greater than themselves. On the local level here, on the not the local, but at the domestic level here, the national anthem is played because it represents America. We are supposed to be one nation under God, indivisible. We're supposed to be a nation that's supposed to be that's the so-called melting pot, that everybody comes here and we all become American. How I would like to understand how a national anthem that is supposed to represent everybody on American soil, that were born here, that are American citizens, and represents, all the rights and freedoms in history. And especially if you listen to the Star Spangled Banner, I mean, there's a lot of national anthems out there, obviously, and not all of them to me are really beautiful to listen to. The Star Spangled Banner, to me, is a particularly beautiful national anthem because of when it was written, how it was written, and the words itself. Francis Scott Key, writing it. I've always found that image of perseverance inspiring. So the sort of thing like this that says does not fully represent them, these are people like Mark Cuban, for example. Mark Cuban is a fucking idiot. And people who say that the national anthem does not fully represent them, you're also fucking idiots, in my view. If you understood anything about American history, if you understood anything about our country, and you understand anything about how it's supposed to be a government for you, the people, as Bane would say, the people, you would understand that the national anthem is far more representative of all national anthems that I've heard. I would say that this national anthem is probably the most representative of everybody in the United States. I don't know. To me, this self-loathing by Americans is so monumentally stupid and misunderstood. I mean, these people don't understand anything about what they're talking about, in my view. They really don't. They really don't. They really need to learn history. They really need to learn the sacrifices that people have made to give them the privileges that they have now to act like complete assholes. This is a typical example of having so much money, privilege, power, influence, and all the milk and honey that comes along with that you are so shielded from intelligence that you loathe the very thing that gave you that sort of position in life. It's mind-boggling, in my view, to be so unappreciative. So unappreciative of the country that gave that to you. It's pretty amazing to me. So there's that. I'm glad that the NBA told Mark Cuban to essentially fuck himself. I'm glad about that. As they should. Not that I care. I have no plans of watching any sports like voluntarily. If I'm at a restaurant or something like that and they have sports on, I guess I don't have a choice. But I'm not paying for it. I'm not gonna watch it. I'm not gonna give them any viewership voluntarily. Hmm. Um. Speaking of China, as we talked about China before, and that may be part of why Mark Cuban has such an issue with the national anthem and such, because the NBA is basically owned by China. They're so beholden to China, it's not even funny. Um, but you have the BBC World News banned from broadcasting in China as London-Beijing media war heats up. I had no idea this media war was even happening. So BBC World News has been banned from the Chinese airwaves, Beijing state-controlled TV network announced. The tit-for-tat move comes after the UK media regulator Ofcom revoked the broadcasting license for the Chinese CGTN network. China's National Radio and Television Administration announced the ban on Thursday, stating that the BBC's reports violated the requirements that news should be truthful and fair, harm China's national interests, and undermine China's national unity. The reports in question likely refer to BBC Newsnight's coverage of China's Xinjiang province, where the government is detaining Uyghur Muslims in what is called a de-radicalization program. Western governments and activists have accused Beijing of waging a campaign of genocide against the Uyghurs. Yeah, I mean, they are engaged in genocide. There's plenty of evidence to show that. These people are rounded up, quote, re-educated. Not that I'm defending the BBC per se. The BBC has been pretty guilty of some egregious shit in the past too, like a terrible news reporting, incredibly biased reporting, especially against conservatives. So in that sense, I don't even fault China that much. But at the same time, it is bullshit that China is trying to have some sort of moral high ground here when China's horrible. Let's just say it. A authoritarian communist government that rounds people up for re-education, gives them a social credit score where you can't even buy a train ticket if you don't kiss the ring of dear leader. No. That is garbage. That is absolute garbage. You can't practice religion freely there. You can't speak freely there. You have no real rights there in China. It's trash. And the fact that everybody's kissing the ring of China in the world because everybody's scared of China, fuck them. And fuck the people that kiss the ring. Like Biden. And Hunter Biden. And other people in this Biden dictatorship, because it's not an administration, it's a dictatorship. So fuck all that crap. But anyways, those are the major news items that I wanted to talk about today. I'm gonna get off here because I'm pretty sure someone on Bitwave is going to be sniping the whole impeach. Yep, DoomTube's got it. So I'm gonna get off here so I can listen in on this trash of the what's it called? The impeachment, and we'll go from there. So I'm gonna sign off, kids. Remember, don't be complacent. Especially now, actually. Don't be complacent. I've been thinking about that. Don't be complacent applies even more so now. We could give up. We could just, throw in the towel and say, well, we're under dictatorship rule now, and we're just going to have to take it up the ass. No. We're going to have to figure out a way to fix our system. We're going to have to figure out ways to work with this, with what we got, and, with these lemons and make lemonade, and remove the corruption from government, remove the corruption from the media, remove the corruption in Hollywood, remove the corruption everywhere. I don't know how we're going to do it. I don't know what would be the best way to do it. I don't know what exactly are the steps to be taken, but hey, not doing anything is not an option at this point. I say get involved somehow, even if it's just commenting on social media. If you comment on even just putting your voice out there, I think is already a start. It may not seem like you're doing anything, and maybe at the end of the day it's not really anything, but at least putting your voice out there in concert with a bunch of other people saying this is bullshit, at least that accounts for something. It accounts for a recognition of the nonsense that's happening right now, and that you can take a stand on it. It starts with the first thing that you have to do is to at least recognize what's happening and voice your opposition to it, and then from there move on. From there, see what can you do, if anything. But that's where it starts. It starts with not being afraid to speak up. If you're afraid to speak up, then it's all over. So don't be afraid to speak up. Don't be afraid to speak out. And it may affect your business. It may affect your life in a way. Maybe your own family members will disown you. But I don't want any of that. I wish everyone could just get along. But at least you can live with yourself. You have to, at the end of the day, you have to do what your conscience deems best. And if it involves voicing a dissenting opinion, do so. I guess the main message here is just don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. Do what you think you can if you feel like you want to do something, and let's see if we can get our country back from tyranny. So I will be back on stream obviously tomorrow because it is Friday. No, today's Thursday. I'm sorry. Tomorrow's Friday. And remember, kids, don't be complacent. And we will see you later. Bye.